the Francisca axe. Great flying axe and with a historic background. How much cooler could you get with a throwing axe? As you guys know, I've done a review on this one here, the Condor. If you're interested, I'll put a link up at the top. You can go check that one out and then come back and watch this one. What a great flyer this is. So much so that I gave my subscribers an option. After I got done with the review of the Condor, I said I wanted to design one myself, but traditionally hafted. And I gave you guys two options. I gave you the Council Tool Flying Fox, and I gave you the World Axethrowing League Ace of Spades. And of course, you guys chose the Ace of Spades. So here it is. The traditionally hafted Francisca axe made from a World Axethrowing League dedicated competition throwing axe. The Competition Francisca Throwing axe. How cool is this? Now, I will get into it in a couple different ways. Of course, I'm going to show you guys how I can throw this. Yeah. Yeah. And we'll talk about how it flew when I'm showing you guys me throwing this axe. And then we'll talk about design work in it, how I made this thing and how well it stacks up to a manufacturer's Francisca axe like the Condor. And we'll do some weight comparisons. I brought a couple axes with me and we're just gonna get into everything, okay? So let's talk about how well this thing flew. The reason why I liked throwing this axe so much is because it gives you two different feels. The axe head is a World Axethrowing League competition throwing axe head, so the bit and cheeks are very, very thin. So it almost feels like one of those all steel axes like the Ned Foss ones or the World Axethrowing League competition hawks. You know, about 12 to 13 inches long, very light. Being able to throw them really hard into the target and, you know, they sink really deep into the target. That's exactly what I got out of this. It felt like one of those small all steel axes. I mean, it was really nimble out of the hand, especially for single rotations. I felt like I was throwing a very small axe. Even though it's coming in at 15 inches long, it didn't feel that long when I was releasing it out of my hand. I was able to get it out really fast, and it just felt really good and clean out of the hand. It also sunk really deep too. Penetration, we were getting about 3.5 inches when I was throwing it hard, all the way up to about here. Heck of a lot of penetration. But not only did it feel like a smaller all stainless steel axe, you know, that's very thin, which makes it sink deep into the target, but I had a wooden handle. So it felt more like a competition throwing axe in the hand when I put this wood handle in my hand to throw the axe. So I got a competition throwing axe feel in my hand and release out of my hand, but when it hit the target, it felt like a stainless steel axe going in. Sounded like one too. And guys, I was getting crazy penetrations out of single rotation. I was able to do back spinning throws, which of course I always do in just about all my reviews. I was able to spin around, throw it really hard in the target. I was able to get really accurate too. And I'm telling you guys, you could use this as a competition throwing axe. It's not extremely heavy. Okay, it's not. It's only coming in at 1 pound and 3 ounces. However, if you wanted something similar to a competition throwing axe, but you wanted the versatility of a stainless steel axe or all steel axe, you could totally do this yourself. And it flies really well at a single rotation. Felt good out of the hand, really light, really nimble, felt very versatile being able to pull off all kinds of different throws, guys. It just worked out really well at a single rotation. Felt really good. Of course, taking this thing back to double rotations and triple rotations felt great. I didn't notice anything differently back at a double and triple rotation than at a single rotation, meaning it felt extremely even across the board at singles, doubles, and triples. I was able to stand at a double rotation, hit over and over and over again. Of course, I went into the front yard and started doing some dynamic axe throwing, meaning running at the target, throwing the axe at the target. you know, spinning around, throwing it. It's so light, so you can do that very easily. There's not a lot of weight to this thing to kind of preload when you're moving and throwing, which is what I really like about some of these lighter axes, is that it gives you the ability to move around and throw while moving, and that the axe head is really light, the handle's really light, and you don't have a lot of weight to throw up and get out of your hands. So meaning you can get right to your spot and throw without having to think about, oh, I need to preload this as I'm running. It's not something you think about when you're dealing with these lighter hatchets or axes. So double rotations were great, no problems there. Triple rotations were just as good too, guys. And of course, I went back to triple rotations and I started to kind of throw around the target. I like doing that at triple rotation because it gives me an improvement in my accuracy when I do that at triple rotations. So I start on the left side, throw a few, then go down to the bottom, throw a few, go to the right, throw some more into the right side of the target. Then I move myself up to the top. I throw from a triple rotation, hitting the top of the target. And then after I do that, I really start honing in on going for the bullseye or around the bullseye, trying to be accurate right in the center. I was able to do that with this no problem at all. So it is a great flying axe, hatchet, whatever you want to call it. It feels more like a competition throwing axe in my hand, but performs, like I said, like the stainless steel axe. Even for distance, it felt exactly like that too. So it gives you the best of both worlds, I would say. Taking a quick break for a second. Out here in the woods by myself. This is where I normally film the intros to some of my videos. I love it out here. It's so great. And of course, we got the Dansmut Viking runes. Guys, this stuff is delicious. You can see here I've almost finished it. Sorry I didn't put it in a Throwing Axes and Mead episode, but Nordic honey wine with sour cherries and Tasmanian pepper added. Guys, if you love sour cherries and you love a little spice in your drinks, finished off the bottle, man, this stuff is delicious. Nice bright red. God, this stuff is so good. So damn good. Viking runes. Dansmut Danish mead. How great is this stuff, guys? How great is this? I love doing this. I love doing this. If some of you guys knew me personally, I think you'd like to be my friend because this is what I find enjoyable. In a crazy world where everyone's running crazy and doing crazy stuff, I like to come out here when by myself and just listen to the birds and watch the snakes. I see, look like a copperhead over there. Stay away from him. There's water over there, and you know, he's just maneuvering around. He ain't hurting me, right? So I'm not gonna mess with him. But I keep a mindful eye out here. I don't think we have any bears, so we're good there. But in case we do, I got something for them, and it's not an axe. So let's talk a little bit about the design on this. Okay, so I reused the handle that the World Axethrowing hafted onto the Ace of Spades head, okay? So I reused the handle, I took the head off, cut it down, cut my kerf, and then rehafted this head onto the original handle. Now, I will say I didn't get it as far down as I would like on the shoulder. I could have gone down another ½ inch, but guys, we're coming in at 15 inches. I didn't have a lot more to work with, but it seems to have held, seems to be doing great the way it is. So I call that a success, okay? So I went ahead and burned the handle, give it a little bit of a burn finish with some Danish oil. Guys, I really like Danish oil on axe handles, and the reason why I like Danish oil is because whether or not you're throwing in snow, rain, sleet, humid conditions, dry conditions, it gives you an even grip on an axe handle across the board with all of that type of weather. That's why I really like Danish oil, because it works out really well for me. Maybe different for you, but if you haven't tried Danish oil, try it. Let it dry for about 2 or 3 days though before you try to throw it, because if not, it'll get really slick, and then when you start throwing, it starts to feel like glue if it's not dried. So let it dry. Handle turned out really well. I like the way that the handle feels. As you guys can see here, I'll kind of turn to the side here. What I did with this handle was, it's a straight handle, but I wanted to give it a little bit of a curve like a Francisca axe. I didn't have a lot of material to work with from the start because the World Axethrowing handles are already, as you know, very thin when they get to you. So I took a lot of material off. I did, as you saw at the beginning of the video, I really shaved the back of this off and gave it this type of swoop here. Now the reason why I like that too is because when I hold this thing in my hand straight, you can see that the bit, the toe, I should say, of the axe head is kind of going down, right? So if I was to throw it, I'd have to over-rotate it to get it to hit. What I did with the handle was I swooped it back so that way when I put it in my hand like this, as you can see here, the bit is completely even from head to toe. So when I go to throw it, that's how I'm going to release it out of my hand, and it's going to hit into the target like that as well. I had no issues with the handle smacking anything on the targets or on the trees or anything. It just sank really nice. And as you guys know, with the original Francisca axe here that I did by Condor, as you can see here, the head design is very similar, but the toe and the heel on the bit is a little different. And that's why I didn't give it the same toe and heel or bit design as the Condor has, is because I wanted it to be more of a competition throwing axe. So that way you don't have to over rotate it to get it to stick. You can still stick the full bit and not get a knob strike. So that's what I did with the handle. Now getting into the actual axe head, of course I just talked about the bit. It was very easy. You know, I took my cut-off wheel, not burning it up. I didn't want to heat it up too bad and ruin the tempering. So, you know, I go very slow, pouring water on it, so on and so forth. It went really, really quick, though, because the steel is very thin. Kept the Ace of Spades logo on the back, which was really cool, too. And hafted it back on. Went on really well. Took some blue to the head to give it a little bit of color. Worked out really well. I will say it went on really nice, really fast, and I had no issues at all hafting it. It worked out really well overall. It just feels really good in the hand, guys. It really is. I wish you guys could feel this because it just feels so damn good in the hand. It really does. Now, if you're wondering, Wes, is there any cons to that axe? Yes, there is. And it's the same thing it always is. The World Axethrowing League handle. I had issues with it. Not when I was hafting, but when I started throwing. Now, I will say, guys, you can see here, I did not beat up this handle at all, which is a testament to how well this thing flew. And I threw it for a little over 4 hours, consistent throwing for 4 hours, and I did not tear this handle up at all, which means that it was a great flyer. I had very little misses with it. However, what I did start noticing is like I told you guys in a previous video with the World Axethrowing League axe handles, is that they're very dry. Okay, I don't think they're the greatest handles in the world. They're not. And they're very dry, especially up here in this area where you cut your kerf. So after I hafted the handle down, or the head down onto the handle and started throwing and throwing and throwing, I started noticing that up here in this area where it's really dry, it started to kind of fall apart. As you can see here, guys, I can literally just start pulling this down and pulling wood off the top. Now, I will tell you, I soaked this thing in boiled linseed oil for 2 days and put 2 coats of Danish oil on it and let it dry for a few days before I threw it. So I tried to oil it as best as I could in a short amount of time as I had, and it did nothing. It really didn't. So basically, this thing up here, as you can see here, it's just flaking off. It's really bad. And when I took it out to the front yard and started throwing it really hard into my big log, the top of the axe head here, as you can see, just broke off. The handle right here just kind of chipped off. It went into that log and it just snapped off. So even though this thing is great, the design I think is great, the handle fitting on this axe head was great, it worked out really well, we still have the same issues we always do, which is the World Axethrowing League handles just kind of fall apart on you. If they don't crack, split, or break, up here is so dry, it just starts to kind of fall apart, and that's what we had going on here. Do I want to put a new handle on it? No. It's still hafted on there. It's not moving, so I'm going to keep throwing it exactly how it is, and when it breaks, I'll put a new handle on it. If I said this thing came in at 1 pound and 3 ounces, I was wrong. It's 1 pound and 4 ounces, but I will show you guys something really cool. The Condor Francisca axe weighs almost exactly the same. 1 pound and 3 ounces, 1 pound and 4 ounces. Take a look at that. How cool is that? Look how much more of an axe head you get and bit than you do on this one here. Of course, the handle's a little shorter, but if that shows you anything, it tells you this, that these axe handles by the World Axethrowing League don't really have much density to them. They don't. So we're almost weighing exactly the same. Showing you guys something else too. The Cold Steel Trailhawk, 1 pound and 3 ounces. 1 pound and 3 ounces on this thing. So I will say that the cold steel handles are a little bit more dense than the World Axethrowing League handles are, even though they're a lot thinner. We're almost weighing exactly the same. And these fly almost exactly the same too. So if you don't have the skill level or you're not interested in modifying axes like this one here, get you the Cold Steel Trailhawk. It flew almost exactly the same as this one. And as you guys can see here, the bit profile and the cheeks are very similar too. As we can see here, the Cold Steel Trailhawk actually has a thinner profile as it goes back to the handle, more so than this one does. But guys, we were getting almost exactly the same penetration. Cold Steel Trailhawk is penetrating all the way up to here, where the World Axethrowing League Ace of Spades was penetrating to about here. Very similar, almost in the exact same spot. So 3.5 inches of penetration if you're throwing it hard, 2.5 if you're throwing it moderately. So all in all, all three of those are great axes for axe throwing. Mouth's getting a little dry. Getting a little dry, guys. So the World Axethrowing League Ace of Spades, what do you guys think of this thing? Was this something that you might do? Would you be interested in doing something like this? I'll say this, and I'll say it, and I'll keep saying it till the day that I die. Some of these axes, these Frankenstein axes, designed axes, when you make your own axes, they tend to be some of the better throwing axes that you might experience and get and throw. I will say that some that come from different manufacturers, if you're interested, go back and watch my playlist. I've got a ton of axes I've done reviews on. Some are good, and some are really good. But I found that axes like this, ones that I design, ones that I really put my touch on, designing, fixing handles, and so on and so forth, they're just great, and they're really hard to compare to others because I don't feel like they are in the league with some of those other ones. Of course, everybody has their own preferences, so you can take an axe head or a handle and fit it the way that you want it to your throwing style and the way that you throw axes, which would probably make a better flyer, right? But I'm just saying, overall, when you design axes like this, they're great. And if you guys haven't experienced custom design throwing axes before, you really should consider getting some from people that know what they're doing, because they're really hard to give up once you throw them. Meaning, you take these things out and you throw them 1 or 2 times, you really don't want to go back to stock manufactured generic axes anymore. You just don't. The World Axethrowing League axes, the competition throwing axes are really good. They are. And you can take them off the handles and put them on other handles and they become even better flyers, to where you really don't have to do much to the axe heads, right? They give you a ton of different options in their catalog. On their website, you have all kinds of different shapes and sizes, designs, which is really cool. But I'm telling you guys, once you do stuff like this, it's really hard to beat. And you really kind of want to just stick with stuff like this that you may design yourself, or maybe a person out there does some design work that you like. Great flying axes, guys. They're just great. Great penetration, great rotation, single, double, triple rotations. A lot of these axes, if you guys notice, a lot of the axes that I design and work with, I say they fly, they're very versatile axes, right? Except maybe for the Grenswissbrück carpenter's axe. That one's really good at a double rotation, single rotation, that's about it. Maybe triple sometimes. But most of the stuff that I design, they're just very versatile. They are. Even doing a little bit of modification to some of these axes improves them so much. And I'll put a link up at the top now so you guys can go and check my modification video that I recently put out about how you can make major or minor modifications to some of these axes to make them better flyers. You really can. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you felt like you chose the right one between the Ace of Spades and the Flying Fox. We'll do something with the Flying Fox in the future. We will. I promise we will. But I wanted to showcase this because it was such a great flyer. Let me know in the comment section if you guys enjoyed the video. If there's something you'd like to see done with the Council Tool Flying Fox. I got the longer handled one. Put that in the comment section too. We'll start doing some design work in that and see what we can make out of that one. But I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate everything everybody does to make this channel what it is. I know I ramble a lot, but I try to give you guys information. It's not just random rambling. I feel like it's information that somebody can use out there. So thanks for all your support. Thanks for everything. I really do appreciate it. I do. But until next time, See you guys. I got a hell of a trek back. And I wore sandals. Stupid me. Wore sandals in the woods. I never do that. And I wasn't thinking, and I just kind of ran out here and whatever. I really wish I had some more mead, because if I drank a little bit more, I probably wouldn't care if I had sandals on. Coming for the world record for the longest axe throw, 200 feet. I've chosen October as the date, or the month. I haven't chosen the actual date yet. My birthday's on the 2nd of October. Maybe I'll do it on my birthday. I don't even know what day October 2nd falls on this year. Maybe we'll do it on that day. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, I'm out of here. The mosquitoes are starting to come out. I can feel them. Get off me. See you guys. Oh God, my ass is numb again. God, that log sucks. Oh God.